So what do you think about, I mean, our work in church, in college, in all these institutions, how you put a grade on us and how we are being able to adapt ourselves to this different needs. Let me put this in a more clear way. Sometimes church is a very unfriendly place for someone who has or experienced trouble with sensorial
Mhm.
issues. There's very noisy places, or people doing weird stuff. And how can you grade us? We are doing a good job or a very bad job trying to adapt ourselves.
I think there's a lot of work to be done. I
Um,
think there's a lot more learning and talking about it, which is good. But there is definitely a big gap of, lots of neurodivergents that don't go to church because, I mean, there's lots of neurodivergence in church because there's neurodivergence everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
But there is still a big gap and still a lot of misunderstanding, and it is definitely like, uh there's not always that understanding. And my friend Stacey, she wrote a book about neurodiversity in the church, and she interviewed a lot of people around New
well,
Zealand
great.
and stuff, and she heard lots of stories about people's bad experiences with churches. And I've heard a lot of people share their bad experiences because there's so many um, things that people have to take into account, from just getting ready in the morning to going to church to setting foot in the building to being welcome
Yeah,
to the like overwhelm that people might experience of
yeah,
light and sound and noise, or there's certain expectations that people might feel like they might not meet, or like it's a very social environment, and so that's a lot to think about for people, as to how much to talk or how little. Also, people uh, often, some people, have someone in my group actually got told off being on their phone in church, like, which she was on her phone in church to focus on the sermon, but she got told off for doing it, and she hasn't been back, which is just so heartbreaking to me. And so there's not always an understanding of like how everyone takes in information differently as
yeah.
well, and everyone needs different tools, and also everyone connects with God differently as well. Like we
Never.
don't, and also you're like, there's a big like, culture around like, this is what our quiet time should look like. It has to be the same time every day, and you sit down with your Bible and like, read the Bible for a bit, and like, I don't know, do a devotional, and like, you have to do it like, your plan every day the same time, like, and for someone who's a bit more routine oriented, like maybe that's very life-giving for them, but then someone who's not routine oriented, that's like, so hard, like such a constant, like, but then our relationship with God doesn't have to look like the same as everyone else's, and like there's so many ways that different people connect with God, and that's okay because He's designed us all differently. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of different, and then people have been turned away from camps or turned away from being pastors because of their neurodiversity, or like
Wow.
people have gotten exorcisms and stuff, like, people like saying it's a demon and stuff, and that's really hurtful, or being excluded from small groups because they're a disruption, or because they are too intense for the other people in the group. There's a lot of different issues.